Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidda-didda-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
Another week inside, waiting to go outside, just longing for the days that we could do things and hold people and hug people. You know, one of the worst things about this, and I know there are much worse things, but this is one of the worst things. Everybody has their own worst, but I don't get to see any of my family, like my sister. And for those of you who know, both of my parents are deceased, so I don't have a lot of family to go see. It's my sister and then her kids. I don't really hang out with her husband, my brother-in-law, or hug him or anything, so I don't long for him. But, you know, my sister, my niece and nephew, I'm not even able to see them. And you would think with this whole thing that you'd be able to at least see your family, but no, you shouldn't, because you don't know if you're carrying anything. You don't know if you're fostering a virus inside of you and you're not feeling any symptoms. So stay in, everybody. It is working. I am one of those people that believes social distance is working. And I am not one of those people, one of these crazies online that thinks, well, the numbers are going down, so I don't see what the big deal is with everything, because, you know, we're social distancing, but we don't need it because it's where the numbers are down. It's who is overblowing everything. Well, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but the numbers have to go down in order for us to be able to return to some normalcy. And that probably won't happen for quite a while. But enough about the coronavirus. This is a podcast that is hopefully getting you away from thinking about all that. And I know a lot of you aren't listening to podcasts right now, which is weird for me to talk about it because you're not listening to this. But, you know, I don't listen to as many podcasts now because I'm not driving nearly as much. And most of us listen in the car. So if you are listening, I want to thank you so very much. Please make sure you're getting on social media. I do not mention this enough. And following me at Mr. Blake Minor, or following Minor Wisdom Pod on Twitter. You can also follow on Facebook. You can follow on MySpace, Live Journal, all of those amazing early 2000s social media hits are through Minor Wisdom or getting hit by Minor. Never mind. I'm drunk, and it's the morning. So I want to thank you all again for listening. This week I've got Kelly Harkins. This is the last interview that I did in person before we were all shut down. And actually, I'll be honest with you, as things are shutting down, school was already shut down, but we weren't told to shelter in place or anything. But as things are shutting down, I did this interview with Kelly at a bar near my house. And one of the best parts about doing this live is you get to watch people. And so we talk about some things in there. But while we're doing this, I might sound distracted because I'm watching a guy play Golden Tea. Older gentleman, had a light beer, probably Miller Lite or Coors, one of those fake beers. It's just more like amber water. But he not only was he drinking this beer with ice in it, which alone is a penalty and not something that anybody should ever do, but he was also licking his hands right before he zoomed that little ball thing that's in the Golden Tea. And if you know the game, you know what I'm talking about. And it was disgusting, and I kept getting distracted, and I was thinking, this is one of those guys that is passing on this virus and doesn't even know it, doesn't even care, doesn't even believe it. If it's not happening to me, it's not happening to anybody. That's what he thinks. And yes, I use a country accent because... Anyway, I did this interview with Kelly again before we knew everything was shutting down for good. So he does discuss his upcoming show, which is no longer happening, obviously. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Candy Dome or something, whatever it is he's doing. But we do discuss it, and we discuss some other things as well. If you don't know Kelly Harkins, Kelly is not only a comedy sports improviser and has been for the past 67 years, but he is also the most passionate middle school theater teacher in Texas. I would put him up against anyone. I want you to enjoy this amazing human, this angry Irishman, Mr. Kelly Harkins. What did the cake say to the fork? You want a piece of me? I just assume that you started at Springwoods. You don't have any history before that.
I did. I have zero.
Like you didn't even go to middle school, I'm assuming.
I did not. I was hatched at Springwoods High School, a grown 14-year-old boy. No, I went to Spring Ranch Independent School District throughout, but I didn't get a taste of theater until I got to high school, which was with Terry Hibbert at the time. And then Terry Hibbert Ismert.
Yeah.
Now.
THI, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, and if you don't know, you better. So, no, it was like literally my 9th grade year. I auditioned for Once Upon a Mattress, and the cast list went up, and I was very excited about it. I went up the next morning, extra early, to check the cast list to see if I'd been in there.
You weren't on it?
I was absolutely not on it at all. And so I went into her office area, her desk, and I asked her, is there any chance I could, maybe at least work on crew or something like that? And by the way, Springwoods at that point, did not have a thriving program. I was looking at all of the ensemble. I was nowhere on the list. And so it turned out I had actually been cast as a part. Sir Loose was the name of the character. Sir Loose.
A lot.
Let's test your mics on that.
Yeah.
Sir Loose. But yeah, it had actually been cast, and I just had not been put on the list.
Oh.
Yeah, which 100% I have done to several kids myself throughout my career, including this year. Our dance captain was nowhere to be on our list at all, and she was amazing. We'll call her A. Hammer is her name.
Sure. I know. I'm familiar with
A. Hammer.
I'm familiar with
She
it.
wasn't even listed on the cast list at all, so I feel like a dick, because it's you think of all people to be screwed out of my first performance ever, I would make sure that everybody's on the list.
So, Mr. Harkins, are we not having a Romeo? I don't see him on the list.
There's no Romeo this year.
No Romeo. Just
straight blank and Juliet.
Juliet.
Yeah, and Juliet. Ampersand Juliet is what we're going with this year.
All right, so Springwood. So and then you went on to be the most famous graduate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are by far the most prestigious alum.
I was on Big Bang Theory for several seasons.
He went there, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you don't know that?
Yeah, no,
I
remember
pitch that every chance they get, man. Absolutely.
Have they considered changing the name of the school?
I think they should.
Yeah.
Sheldon University.
Yeah, Sheldon University.
Sheldon School of Theater and Dance.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and honestly, I'm not bashing that at all. I think it's great that he went there.
Yeah.
I think it's.
He's not Beyonce, and that's who I went to school with. So whatever, keep going. It's your podcast.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I roomed with Lil Wayne, but that's all right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Set a gas tall.
AKA Caleb George.
So I went to Springwoods High School, graduated, went to U of H. I went there mainly because I got cast, for lack of a better word, with Comedy Sports Houston, which was years ago when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And
before the high school league, right? Or was that already?
I had been in the high school league, and I think that led to my being cast.
Got it. Same with Brendan. That's how Brendan got.
Yeah, Brendan Durant.
A
Lot of people actually.
Yeah.
It's changed.
Not me. Anyway, continue.
It's changed in the last decade or so. I feel that they're trying to get away from that because the system is now take classes and then lead up into your introduction, which is more like how most improv schools work.
Probably how it should be. Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah. Because I've seen those shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. The high school league shows?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I was talking about.
Shout out to my high school league players at Springwoods and Stratford High School.
So then, so UH. So
Yeah,
you
U of
got your
H,
bachelor's.
And then I
Bachelor's.
moved on right out of U of H. I was working the summer camp, and this was very odd. Literally the last week of that summer camp, and I was, shitting my pants a little bit because I had no clue what I was going to do next. I had one thing possibly on the horizon, which was a child wrangler at the alley, which
Sure.
I had not even nailed down. Like,
Right.
it was just an option.
Well,
to
they didn't
interview.
want to hire you. You were just going to show up and just
I was
start.
going to wrangle those kids, whether they wanted it
With
or
a
not.
lasso
I was gonna-
and some spurs.
yeah,
Come on, kids.
assless chaps. I was ready to go, man.
I don't feel like. I feel like they. There's no question they should have hired you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were at a loss.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely their loss.
But I got a call from A-Leaf ISD, and they were like,
The Leaf.
"Yeah, the Leaf, babe." And I got hired at Miller Intermediate School, 5th and 6th grade campus. And once again, that was all because of the connections I made in Spring Branch. Though, like at Spring
Yeah.
Woods, I went to school with a girl named A. Scott. Protect her. That was actually my VP, Ann Scott.
Is she related to A Hammer?
No,
Or-
no
'cause
relation to A. Hammer.
The A's are. I got you. Yeah.
It was actually Kay Scott,
Right.
whose mom, A. Scott, hired me at A-Leaf ISD. And I worked there for 7 years, and I loved it. Like,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I think the majority of the policies that are in effect in A-Leaf, well, as of, when I left,
right.
were great. I think A-Leaf is a solid district through
Yeah.
and through. And frankly, I would not have left if it weren't for my own principal being promoted up. And I went to Spring Branch and I interviewed like the last week of school, and they showed me a beautiful auditorium, and I got
Yeah, you do have a great, like for a middle school.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got swept away by the auditorium.
Yeah.
Now, in all fairness, like it's a lot of lipstick on a pig.
Right.
There's several problems to that auditorium, but
Right.
it's an auditorium. Like, that doesn't happen in middle
Thank you,
schools
sir.
anymore. So I'm very thankful to be where I'm at, no
Yeah.
doubt. Like, I have a lot of wonderful things going for me where I'm at, which is currently Spring Forest Middle School, home of Bobcat Playhouse.
The Fighting Bobcats.
The Fighting Bobcats.
You also coach basketball, don't you?
I coach the hell out of basketball.
Where did that background come from?
I grew up playing basketball.
Because you're 4'10", 4'11".
4'11" and a half.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Not quite at 5 feet yet, but I'm working on it, man. Maybe one more summer, I'll be there. But no, I mean, like most people, most boys in Texas, like my first love was sports.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I came into theater because like I stopped growing.
But
my brother's 6'2", I'm 5'7".
Right. I don't want you to lose your basketball gig, but would basketball be your first? Like, if they were to come to you with the options of saying you can coach XYZ, would basketball be the first one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It would?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I coach basketball.
I've seen you play flag football. I thought you were pretty good.
It's too hot. If I'm being honest, like being outside in August doesn't appeal to me.
Indoor football.
Yeah, indoor football I do in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I also coached volleyball this year too for the
Oh.
first time. That was exciting.
Yeah.
Because that was just
Do you
completely different
now?
experience.
Now you and you've grown as a man, so I can't speak to this now, but in college you notoriously went from 0 to 60 relatively quickly. Whether it was just passionately, not necessarily with anger, just like you could go from 0 to 60 laughter. You could go from every emotion you could have. You go from 0 to 60 for the most part.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
right? Is that fair to
despite
say?
years of therapy, I'm still 0 to 60.
But I want to know, because I've never seen you coach. I've seen you on stage. We've acted together on stage doing those things with JP and stuff, those improv shows, which were some of the best things ever. But for me, but how are you as a coach?
No, I'm pretty 0 to 60. Like I
Yeah.
mean, like I will say that it's much like a rehearsal though. It's like you come in and it's like these are our warm-ups, and you instill them in the first 10 minutes of practice, and it's like by mid-season, I don't even need to be there for the first 10 minutes because it's like, these are the warm-ups we do. Like, this is it, you know, and you go through the process. In-game coaching, like, I get very passionate, though. Like, I mean, it's...
Have you ever been asked to leave?
I've never... I've been teed up, but the only reason I was ever teed up was because I had too many players on the court. And that's on me. That's because I didn't communicate well enough with my players to like, all right, you're off right now. So I had 6 men on the court during like a foul, like a free throw or something.
So it wasn't like 6 men, like it wasn't a secret play.
No, that would be brilliant. Oh, I wish I was that smart, honestly. But no, I've only been teed up because
down by
like
1.
that.
3 seconds left.
Oh,
send in the 6 man.
Well, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't, boys. So let's go ahead and just go 6 on 5 here.
Why not?
You know, if it works, it works.
That's awesome.
Tell you.
I didn't realize the volleyball thing. How'd you get roped into that?
Just by sheer need.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, because football and volleyball, for those theater listeners out there, football and volleyball are what we call no-cut sports
Yeah.
in Spring Branch ISD and across most districts.
Yeah.
So I was coaching what I termed the blue and gold team, which would be like the F and G teams.
Right.
You know, and so, and the kids need a chance. You know, It's
Right.
like, for better or worse, I've got kids who have been playing volleyball on club teams since they were 7 years old.
Right.
And all those kids are going to be on the A and the B team. And then
Yeah.
there's the other kids who just need a chance.
Right.
So
who do they play though? Do all schools have that many teams?
most schools have at least there's the A and the B, and then there's the color teams, which sounds really bad.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
100%
I know what you mean
recognize
by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be like C, D, E, and F
Right.
teams, you know.
Right.
And so you play those teams. And
Right.
those teams are not like even ranked by talent. They're just
Right.
kind of like, well, here's these 40 kids we have left.
Yeah.
Divide them up by
Have you
number.
ever had to go in for a player?
No, but God willing, I hope so someday, because I will destroy these little girls.
Do you know your volleyball terms?
Absolutely.
Who are the players? Like who? I don't mean like I mean by position. Aren't there position names?
Absolutely, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you got your setter.
Yeah.
You got your strikers on the outside.
Okay.
All right. You got
Setters
your
in the middle, I'm assuming.
setter. Well, you might have 2 setters on
Okay.
the court.
Okay.
All right. And then you have your defenders, which are on the back line generally.
But don't they rotate?
They do, but they have to start in a certain place. But then you can switch wherever the F you want
Gotcha.
when the serve goes over the net. It's
I-
ridiculous.
when I
Like
played
I didn't realize
volleyball-
that. I played volleyball like beach volleyball style, like 2-on-2. And so when I had to
Bathing
learn all
suits.
these terms,
Yeah.
like whether it's like 6-on-6, I was baffled.
Yeah.
Like there's no, I should never, and this can go on record, I should never coach an A or a B team because those girls actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like they should be
Yeah.
coaching the team more than I should.
Right.
So,
That's good for you.
oh, I love it.
There's a theater director in our district that coaches for their football team. High school.
Yeah. It's tough in the fall, but
Ridiculous. Well, he doesn't do shows. But anyway, that's
a problem.
That's not a joke,
problem.
but I wish it was a joke. Cool. So now you're. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I told you this when we pre-screened. Steve Francis. No. So
Ready, baby.
I know we'll get into
Stevie
that.
franchise.
I do want to know the arrows and Houston Hot Shots
That
question.
comes later. That comes
but
way later.
Stevie franchise, baby. What is it about middle school that you love so much?
Well, first of all, Hell in a Cell was amazing. Thank you for asking. All right, so which middle school theater is ridiculous, like to start with,
Yeah.
because I would say 99% of my students have zero concept of what goes into being in a part of a production,
Sure.
or even acting in general. And I'm very thankful that I do have the background that I do have with like U of H. And I didn't do middle school theater in high school, and when I was growing up. Like we didn't have it
Yeah.
at all. Like I got to high school and I was like, this might be fun. And even then, I didn't take a theater class until sophomore year of high school. So for me to teach a middle school theater class is great because I am so happy they have this opportunity. It is a little bit nuts at the 6th grade level because you're trying to introduce as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like the concept of, no, you actually have to memorize lines. You have to rehearse.
Yeah.
And just because we rehearsed for one day doesn't mean you're ready to put this in front of an audience. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's a huge thing. But I love the challenge personally of dealing with like lack of experience like that. But at the same time, I'm blessed in a community that I have kids that are willing to do the work. And that's entirely on their the students and I guess their upbringing is that I love that they're willing to try as hard as they are.
Right.
Are they perfect? Not at all. Do they sing off key 90% of the time? Yes. Do they mess up their blocking? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I have crew members like forget to bring on props and set pieces? Absolutely. But they have to get their start somewhere, and I'm grateful that I can be that starting point.
Right. That's cool.
And I have yet to grow frustrated enough to move on from it.
Right.
There may come a time where I will just that's it, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring on the high schoolers to do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
just
they're
bigger.
they're just less forgiving when they smell like BO. Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
That's my only rule in my classroom. Did I tell you that?
You've mentioned it to me that you have a sign or something that says.
Oh, it's the only. I've narrowed it down. It's the only rule I have in my class is wear deodorant. Like it's blazoned across the wall. Like that's it. Like wear
You
deodorant.
actually have deodorant sticks horizontal on the wall so the kids can just go up and rub.
No, but I have plenty of spray cans.
Yeah.
Like I've had kids come up to me like halfway through the day. They're like, "Hey, I
forgot.
just left PE. Can I borrow some deodorant?" Like, and I will like give them a can of spray deodorant and they go to town because. Honestly, if there's one thing I can teach these kids, it's to wear deodorant.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Proper hygiene.
Yeah, good
Especially
Lord.
right now, right? That's funny. So that's a good perspective because, so my wife is middle school theater teacher and has her days, but she runs it like a high school theater, which to me, I get that feeling from you as well. Not,
I think you
not
have
maybe
to.
with the 6th graders, but as far as
Yeah.
as far as like your 8th graders, your 3-year kids,
Well, and 3-year kids
your
is a good way to,
expectations are just as high as
yeah, and 3-year kids is a good way to refer to it because like I anticipate, not all, but I would hope that those that stick with it are with me for 3 full years before they get to high school. So I have the way my classes are set up is I have 6th grade classes, which are like beginner theater,
Right.
then intermediate theater, which is 7th and 8th graders who just don't want to dedicate their time to theater as much. Then I have my advanced classes. I have 2 advanced classes that are based entirely on production.
Right.
We're working on it. So when we do our fall plays, one class does one act play, and then my second class
Right.
does another 1-act play.
Right.
And I'm doing them an injustice if I'm not treating it like a high school
Right.
program. So yeah, we may not stay after school as much. The expectations may be slightly lower, but it's like I'm constantly preaching to them, like if you want to succeed at the next level, this is what is expected.
Right. Yeah. What shows do you? I mean, I've seen you've done Annie, right? You did
Last
Annie.
year,
Yeah.
yes.
You've done Seussical?
I've never done
Oh.
Seussical because it's too much singing, and I'm not a singer, so I feel.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Sing with. I don't even know the song. So, what is the most challenging show you've ever done?
Most challenging? Probably my first year ever. I did High School Musical. So we did. Well, it's great. It's wonderful. Like I love that show. By the way. So the first semester I was at the school, the previous director, who's a good director, and I'm going to mention his name, he had cast Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah. Jim Johnson. Yeah.
Jim Johnson was teaching middle school theater.
Little known fact.
Little known fact. He was also teaching at U of H at the same time. It's amazing.
Anyway. Yeah.
But he cast and had already chosen Fiddler on the Roof. So I directed that, and I did the best I could with it. Like
Right.
I'd never met these kids before,
You
so
can't
we're
sing nor speak Hebrew.
Yeah, we're just
Right.
going to do the best we can.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll mind you that the year I was doing Fiddler on the Roof, you were doing Godspell,
That's right.
which is one of my favorite things to tell kids. Is like,
That's right.
I was doing
We're
a
doing the
traditional
wrong shows.
Jewish. We should have traded shows. I was doing this traditional Jewish musical.
That's right.
And you were doing the Gospel
That's
according
funny.
to Matthew.
Yeah,
so
well,
always fun.
I got accused of preaching too. Anyway, continue.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I'd won. The only complaint that I've ever received for a show that that I directed was for Godspell from a parent that said I was preaching to the audience. To which I replied, "I assure you, ma'am, of all the people to preach the gospel, according to Matthew, not according to Kelly."
It might not
or-
even be
yeah, yeah.
Matthew. I couldn't even tell
No,
you.
I think it is.
I think it's Matthew.
Yeah, but it's not me. I promise, because Judaism, right? So, although Jesus was maybe the second most famous Jew behind Mel Brooks, obviously.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we could have that conversation too. Anyway, so you think Fiddler on the Roof, huh?
But no. Not Fiddler on the Roof.
Not Fiddler.
Then the next show I
sorry.
did was High School Musical.
Oh, High School
and
Musical,
I didn't know
right.
what I was getting into
Right.
because that was the first one I'd ever
That
had
you-
the full
and you
reins
chose
on.
that.
And I chose it
Yeah.
because, frankly, no offense to our, Jewish listeners out there, no one wanted to do Fiddler on the Roof because it's a pretty depressing show.
I don't know.
Dude, but it
I don't
ends
know.
with them
I feel like that's a little anti-Semitic.
maybe.
First you have the color volleyball team, and now you have the anti-Semitic musical choice. I
Well,
got
that's
you.
true. I
No,
mean, like,
maybe we should just
I was-
shut this podcast off.
No, the whole first semester was me driving out the Jewish community. So it's like, listen, if you're Jewish, you might as well just step out now.
Because we're doing High School Musical.
The High School Musical, which is the most anti-Semitic musical ever made.
Yeah, obviously. We hate basketball. Actually, Jews love basketball. But anyway.
But either way, so I stepped into that, and I didn't know what I was doing for the most part, because it was just a huge show. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that's not a
I mean,
small-
I think anybody who's ever directed a Disney musical can attest to this. They are deceivingly hard.
Yes.
Like, you think they're easy because everybody knows them already, but
Yeah.
it's like they're crazy hard.
That's what makes, I think, some of them even harder.
Yes.
Is the expectation. I just had this conversation with, I think Pam Wilson, was about doing a musical that, yes, it was Pam, doing musicals that nobody has expectations for are sometimes easier and more artistically fulfilling because, for instance, Annie, the audience walks in thinking they're going to see a certain type of production.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's where I did, a few years after that, I did Little Mermaid. And that show, took it out of me because
Yeah.
I was constantly trying to think of, what's going to make our show special?
yeah.
Not even thinking,
Did you do the Grimm's version, the Brothers Grimm?
yes.
Yeah, where
We
she
straight up
kills
murdered her.
people, or
Yeah,
murder- yeah,
we did all sorts of things. No, but it was a matter of, I kept trying to,
carriages and kills
reinvent the wheel
Yeah.
and realizing that, at the middle school level and even at the high school level, I would argue, you don't need to.
Right.
The audience isn't expecting it. I had this giant 20-foot long boat that broke into 6 pieces, and those 6 pieces made up different sets throughout the course of the show. And it was it would spin, and it broke apart during the hurricane and stuff, and Prince Eric fell off like crazy. It was I didn't need to do all that. Was it cool? Absolutely. Did the audience enjoy it? I hope so. But at the same time, I have to step back, and I had to step back at that point. It's all right, well, maybe that's asking too much of myself,
Yeah.
honestly, because we'd spent hours of rehearsal time,
Right.
doing that. Because you have crew members that are running
Yeah.
all this, and I'm in the booth hoping for the best.
Mr. Harkins.
Yeah.
I rolled over my foot again. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit rough. I had a kid actually during that time, during Little Mermaid, they actually backed up a set piece too far, and it got caught on a backdrop that we had rented, and it tore. And one of my favorite memories of middle school theater ever is that kid came up to me after the show. He's like, "Hey, the crew would like to meet with you on stage." It was me and 9 kids. And I'm on cloud 9 thinking hey, we pulled this off. Hey, it
Yeah.
went great and everything. And then they pointed out it's it's our fault entirely. We rolled the wheel over the backdrop and we tried to pull it and then like it ripped and so I was proud of them for one taking responsibility, but two I was also like ridiculously pissed because we had to pay for the repair.
You guys better be prepared for a car wash
Yeah.
next week.
But even then like the pride over them like being able to take ownership of that was amazing.
Do you have parents help you with tech or with building and stuff?
As much as they can.
Right.
We have new rules this year that prohibit kids from using power tools at the middle school level.
Right.
So if I'm not using it, then it needs to be a parent.
Right.
I bend those rules a little bit as far as like I get kids to hold boards and stuff like while I'm like slicing through like plywood and stuff like that.
Right.
But technically they're not touching the instrument.
Right.
But we do. We have like 2 big work days a year on a Saturday,
Right.
and we get as much done as possible. But certainly we don't get it all done during
Right.
that time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I just I know that I remember when I was in middle school, because I did do middle school theater, we had parents up there all the time, even after school sometimes.
Yeah.
When we did 42nd Street in
Jesus
7th grade.
Why?
Talk to Gail Silver, man.
I will.
Yeah. I mean, Gail's still out there. I think she's done after this year, but she's at Bel Air right now. But
Congrats, Gail, that's amazing.
Yeah, but we did 42nd Street my 7th grade year, and then Anything Goes my 8th grade year.
How many? Did you just have like a crew of dance, like tap dancers?
We had a lot of dancers. I mean, there are a lot of people that came out of that program at that time that went on to be highly successful. I mean, Christy Wilson, who is married to Craig Daly,
Right.
she was in my grade. She was an actress.
That's amazing.
And she was the star. I mean, she was the star of everything. Brian Bormaster, who went on to play professional baseball. Jose Cruz Jr., Enrique Cruz,
Right.
what we call
Tony
him.
Eusebio Jr.
There's no Tony Eusebio Jr. Casey Candel the third.
Right. Mark Portugal.
Yeah.
His son was there.
Yeah. But anyway, so speaking of 1990s Houston sports.
Let's do it.
Actually, that would have been 80s, but still, them both. So I asked you, and I legit, did you ever go see a Houston Hot Shots game?
Never.
Oh my gosh.
Not a once.
Did you ever go see
man.
an Arrows game?
Yes.
Okay. The Hot Shots were great. Indoor soccer, it was so cool.
God, man, like I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Like
It was fast.
I'm sure it was
Did you ever
fast.
go? What were we? The Thunder Bears?
We
What
were
was the-
absolutely the Thunder Bears.
Yeah, the
and then we
Houston
were the
Arena.
I can't remember which came first, but we were like either the Texas Terror or the Houston Thunder Bears.
Yeah, it was. We were two different teams.
But we
Yeah,
were
Yeah.
like we had 2 different names. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember
yeah.
which was
Yeah.
first. I think Thunder Bears were second.
Yeah, I think Thunder Bears was the next. Was the better option?
Was the option?
Was
Oh,
the,
Jesus.
We're the yeah. We're,
That's the better option.
the
Thunder
Terror
Bears?
left, and
Yeah.
then a couple years later, they're like, I feel like that really didn't market well. Let's be the Thunder Bears
It's a good name, though. I mean, honestly, like
for kids.
Well, what are the most dangerous things in the world to a kid? Is like a bear and thunder. So I'd take it. Sell a lot of hats,
Yeah,
jerseys,
Bears.
like absolute live bears.
Live bears. That just
I'm surprised the Houston Zoo didn't have an actual like
a Thunder Bear.
thunder bear.
Yeah, that would have been. We don't. Do you know for a fact that they didn't?
Oh shit! I want to look this up now.
Anyway,
They had to have had. If they didn't, that's on them. That's 100% on
So
them.
the other question I had, you thought I was maybe joking, but do you think that the Toyota Center is the direct result of one Steve Francis?
I don't think it's the result of Steve Francis. I think it's the result of like early to mid '90s NBA basketball. I think it
But
was
that
a matter
wasn't
of
Steve
like,
Francis. That
no,
was
no, I get that, but
that
I'm
was
saying
all
like,
Vernon Maxwell
but it was not
and
all.
Pete
Vernon
Chilcutt.
Pete Chilcutt. I swear to God, if Pete Chilcutt like was the result, well, he was the cause of the Toyota Center, we're in trouble. That and Zahn Tabak.
Yeah, yeah.
But
was
that's
tall.
another. Yeah, he was tall.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was Pete. I don't think it was Steve Francis. I think it was in the works long before that. Like I don't have all the
The deets.
the deets behind it, but I think the summit was or at that point the Combat Center
Yeah.
was long gone. I feel
Yeah.
they had already made up their mind, like, we
Yeah.
need our own special thing. Which is weird, though, because you think about it, did they anticipate keeping the Compact Center as a sporting event arena?
A sporting arena.
Or did they already have, like, Lakewood, like, lined up?
I highly doubt that they were. So, no, I'm not.
You
gonna
don't think so?
I'm not going to get into my beliefs on Joel Osteen and all
Is
of
he a
that
new
stuff.
sponsor? This podcast brought to you by Joel Osteen.
This is when we break
Incorporated?
into the podcast.
He messed that up.
He
He
messed
messed
it up
up
big time.
Harvey
Yeah,
big time.
yeah.
Like he
I think
could
he
have been
redeemed
a-
himself, but he did.
Yeah.
He messed up.
I mean,
yeah.
like, I have no doubt. Like,
Especially when you have Mattress Mac as your kind of the two maybe three biggest Houstonians financially speaking are Tillman, Joel Osteen, and Mattress Mac, right? Wouldn't you say so?
I honestly, that's a very good lineup there. Maybe the guy who does like.
And two of the guys were.
That's a
all-
Fat Jack guy.
That's
pretty
another
solid.
furniture guy. That's
Yeah.
and also the Texas Hammer. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jim Adler doesn't count on that. Like,
He's awesome.
he's awesome.
He's also
but
wealthy.
He's super wealthy, but like, I don't know if he's like that
Well,
guy.
Anyway, we don't need
Either
to
way,
talk about that.
I don't think that Stevie Francis is the reason why we got the Toyota Center. I think at that time, well, shit, who was the owner at that time?
It was Les Alexander.
Was it still Les?
Yeah.
So Les, I feel that was all him.
Yeah.
Like, I think he pushed that.
One of the greatest Jews in the history of Houston sports.
Was he Jewish?
I don't know. His name was Les. He was
fair
short,
enough.
white. So switching gears again. So you do this to plug yourself a little bit. You do this improv. Don't talk. I mean, comedy sports people know about, and you do that, but you don't do it nearly as
I
much
would
as you
argue
used
people
to.
don't know about comedy
Yeah,
sports, but that's all right.
everybody knows about it. But what's the? You do a musical thing too, right?
Through Comedy Sports Houston, there's a show called Improv the Musical,
Yeah,
which is once a month, first Friday of every month, 10:30. Come check it out.
yeah.
But yeah, like it's like an hour-long improvised
and
musical.
it's audience suggestion.
So the audience gives us the title, and we improvise the rest.
Okay.
So essentially, they give us the title, and we come up with songs.
What's the best one you've ever done?
best one we've ever done? Oh man,
Do you
so
remember?
it's hard because we've been doing it for several years
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's been a while.
It's been a long while. The one that always comes to mind is that one called Under the Stairs, in which it was this whole concept, and I won't give you the play-by-play, but essentially like a kid like got scared by a monster under the stairs, and so it was all based on like what came out from underneath the stairs. And that's what you kind of get with that show, is that some are very straightforward, like musical style, like boy gets girl, boy
Yeah.
loses girl, boy gets girl back
Yeah.
kind of style. But then we have some more, thematic things. Like, I mean, it's very. Well, I hate to bring this up because it's kind of a sensitive subject for some people now, but we did one 2 weeks ago, which was entirely about like a pandemic that hit
Right.
a town. I can't remember the name of that the audience gave us, but it was clearly based on
Yeah.
that. And I'm proud of us that we never once brought up like specifically the
Right.
name Corona or
Right.
COVID-19 or whatever. But it was all about like people's like reactions to, like just how would you react to like in an epidemic,
Right.
And so we had some fun with that. So I doubt that like many of our listeners were there that night. But
What's the and you may have answered this. You can say it was the same musical, but what is the one that you think could actually turn into a musical?
oh, jeez, that's a very good question.
Like, do you end the night and you're like, oh my gosh, I should like write this down because
We
that was-
did one called Popcorn. And this was it was actually, I mean, it was so solid that, and I'm not saying that the other ones weren't solid, but the one that was so solid was a couple of years ago, and it was all about like an old-timey movie theater that was shutting down in a small town,
Yeah.
and someone came in to like revive it and bring it back to life. So popcorn.
Look for that.
That's coming, baby. It's coming, We always have like super fans that come,
Yeah.
and they always yell out the title "Analton" because they want us to do like, a rap musical
Right.
based on an anal.
Who doesn't? Because we do improv at my school, and we do shows in house, and we have our running joke, and it's not funny to me because I don't think it was funny initially, but they always yell out, "It's Taco Tuesday, and the world is out of tacos." Like somebody always yells that out.
Great premise.
It's tired now.
Well, for you,
Yeah. New audience.
that's gold. I'm taking that tonight. I'm performing tonight. I'll go
Are you?
grab that. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
We got canceled.
Yeah. I was like,
I was supposed to do 2 shows tonight.
Were you?
We got canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, buddy.
You're welcome.
There's another. Don't you do? There's another one too that you've done.
I do a couple others.
There's an adult one.
There's 2 other adult ones I do called Baby Knuckle and
Yeah, Baby Knuckles, the one I was thinking of.
Baby Knuckles, the fun one that we would do. It's a long form setup and things like that.
Yeah.
And the state of Houston improv is strong, but also throughout the state of Texas is also strong.
Yeah.
I perform a lot at Station Theater in addition to Comedy Sports
Okay.
Houston, and that's where we perform Baby Knuckle a lot.
Where is that?
That's down on Houston Ave, like Houston and Washington.
Right.
So Thursday through Saturday they have shows. So
Does the match ever host improv?
match is not. The problem with the
Okay.
match is that you have to commit,
Yeah.
months in advance, but also commit thousands of dollars to rent
Sure.
the place. And no improv show is going to be able to do
Yeah.
that. At least not now.
Yeah.
So
Unless it's like Tillman Improv.
yeah, I mean when Tillman comes around,
Yeah.
and we've reached out to him. Trust me. We're just waiting.
Reached out to him. Hold your breath.
Yeah.
Who's a better owner, Tillman Fertitta or Jim Crane?
Ooh, wow. Dang, man.
I was about to say Bob McNair, but R.I.P.
dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say Jim Crane, man.
Think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Has he brought a championship?
Did he?
He absolutely. You know what? You and your effing trash can. He absolutely did. I don't want to hear it, man. Astros for life, baby.
Yeah. So what's your stance on that whole thing too?
Oh my God. Well,
Because everybody cheats.
no, and that's my stance. Is
Yeah.
everybody cheats. It's
Yeah.
for whatever reason, Astros messed up. They cheated. I'm
If-
not trying to deny
yeah,
that at all.
yeah.
Astros cheated 100%.
If the Expos had won the championship in 2017, it would be the Expos that would be found out that they cheated.
It would be the expose
Yeah.
of the
The
century.
expose.
Yeah. So.
Crime of the century.
Century.
Okay.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is I feel that the Astros got caught for doing something that everybody was doing.
Yeah.
And they got caught.
Yeah.
I think it stinks that we lost our head coach. I think it's our manager.
Yeah, they're called
I think
managers in baseball. Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't coach baseball.
I
so
don't. I'm
wouldn't
sorry.
expect you to know.
I'm only in middle school volleyball. But I feel that we lost our manager, we lost our general manager. Life sucks as an Astros fan right
Yeah.
now. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, one of the only good things that came out of this whole virus scare is that the heat is off the Astros
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that stinks a lot, but it's here we
So-
are, back at it.
Keeping on the Astros, how much did you hate Dusty Baker before he became the manager of the Astros?
I won't say I hated the guy.
I did not. I just didn't like
I don't
him.
think anybody hated him. I think nobody liked him.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Is
yeah.
you didn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
My only memory of Dusty Baker is he was this was several years ago. He was staring down an umpire, and the umpire just stared back at him. That's my only memory of Dusty Baker. He didn't do anything. Was he with the Giants and the Reds?
Yeah, he's been with the Giants, the Reds, the Nationals.
The National, I forgot about the Nationals
Yeah.
entirely. See, I don't know, man. I think he's
Was
gonna.
he the Cubs manager for a little bit? Was he the
shoot, was he?
Yeah, I think he was.
He's gonna ride Bregman and Correa's coattails and Altuve's
yeah.
coattails. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want it.
Well, he's here to put out the fire.
100% he's
Yeah.
here. He's here for one season. I don't
Yeah.
think he gets another season.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm a little bit
They'll
upset.
bring back Hinch.
I would be 100% fine with that. By the way, I've thought about this. Like, bring him back, let him go.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
But,
Well,
but there's that, and, you know, and not to come back to like the virus and stuff, and to bring it full circle, but like all of us are hurting from that in the sense that we don't know what's coming, especially as educators. Like you just finished spring break,
right.
so come Monday, you guys are off for an additional break.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks, wow. For Spring Branch ISD, which is where I'm at, we have the week off.
So your
Which is
spring break is next week?
We're
or
starting
what?
Monday. So
Okay,
it's
okay.
upcoming Monday, we're starting.
Okay.
But we were told Thursday, like of that spring break, we'll know whether or not we're coming back. I don't think anybody's kidding themselves. I think all of us are fully anticipating.
Until March 31.
Yeah, March 31st is the day.
Is the next, you know, we figure out March 31 if we're coming back or not.
Right. And,
well-
so I you know, like I'm prepping right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to kids and like trying to like figure out like
Yeah.
how are we going to do this, and you know.
Do you have a show on? You have a show upcoming in May, right?
We have a show in April.
April. Okay.
So Willy Wonka Jr. April 22nd through April 25th. Yay! Come check it out.
Yeah.
Or not.
It's going to have a boat that splits into 6 pieces.
This boat splits into 2 pieces.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So to disappoint our fans, our super fans out there. But only
trying
2
to
pieces
trying to
this
pull
time.
back a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, but also like there's all kinds of like that's the other challenge of doing middle school theater is like most middle school theater teachers teach in a cafetorium.
Sure.
I mean, I did for the first 7 years of my
Yeah.
career, and it sucked, and it is
Yeah.
what it is. I'm in an auditorium now, and I don't
Yeah.
have a fly system, you know, whatever.
I don't have a fly system.
What?
I don't have a fly system.
Get a fly system. What's your deal?
I mean, for the next 2 weeks, I guess we could go in there and figure it out.
I think so. Blow the
Yeah.
roof off that
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
What's that? 2 million? Nothing.
No.
Not even.
No, it's like
1.4?
two tech periods. Like
Yeah,
I just have a
you
couple
got
kids
that.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my big challenge right now
And my
is like
kids can use tools. Anyway, continue.
you made me spit on my minor wisdom shirt, which I'm wearing. Which I'm going to point out, I'm the only one who's ever worn a minor wisdom shirt on your interview.
to the interview.
I want you to know. But no, like it's a lot of fun. Like that's to bring it full circle. Like teaching middle school is like part of the fun of directing middle school. Is like solving problems.
Right.
Like biggest issue I'm having right now. How am I going to make Grandpa Joe and Charlie float in the fizzy lifting drink
yeah.
room? Like that's a huge challenge. Like if I was in high school, I'd be thinking about flying these kids.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking about
It's
like,
hemp rope.
all sorts
Yeah.
of things. Yeah, hemp rope, you're fine. You know, backpack. You know.
Yeah, just get your 2 heftiest volleyball players to lift them up.
Why they gotta be volleyball players? Man?
I'm just assuming they're stronger than those basketball kids.
They're absolutely
Yeah,
right. You're
yeah.
right, 100% right. But yeah, like I've got I've got to figure out how to do this, and I only bring that up to bring up that the best part of teaching middle school theater.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. The best part of teaching middle school theater is the community that middle school theater teachers have with one another. Like every single one of us. Like there's no competition involved.
Right.
Like it is 100% like, what do we got to do? Like for instance, I got to bring up this question because I don't feel you mentioned this. Have you ever done UIL when you were in high school? Did you ever do UIL when I played high school?
HSPBA did not do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you bring that up every single time.
I don't think I've ever brought it up ever
brought it up?
on.
Okay.
No.
But like,
I don't
but
think
that's
I've
the
ever
case.
mentioned it.
Like
Yeah.
middle school one act play. Spring Branch doesn't
Yeah.
do it. I know Fort Bend does it. I know other districts do
Yeah.
it. But it's like, for us in Spring Branch, I'm sure amongst everyone else, in middle school there's still that like wonderful sense of community, and frankly for the kids, the naivete style where it's like nobody gives a shit. Like we're just out to put on a great show.
Right.
And I go over and I help out like the other middle schools in the district, and like we're just out to make sure every kid has an amazing experience
Right.
because we know that I would guess maybe 30% of the kids that actually do theater seriously in middle school actually go on to do it seriously in high school. It's a it's a shitty number, but at the same time, like that's the reality of it.
Right.
Because for me, for listeners out there at home, I feed in 99% into Stratford High School. Strong program, it's solid. Those kids that I send up to Stratford are riding the pine for 2 years.
Right.
They don't get on stage until they're juniors, maybe. So that's why I say 30%, because by the time those kids have actually like gone through the program, they've lost interest or they've stuck it out. But either way, and that's why I love middle school so much, is that it's not just the kids are like clueless enough to try whatever you tell them, but it's like teachers were like, you know, screw it, let's just go for it, you know, like, and if we can't figure it out, we'll just do the best we can. We have a very forgiving audience, and that's not to say our audiences are dumb or anything. It's just like the standards are way lower for middle school than they are for high school.
Yeah.
So my hat is off to the high school directors who have to deal with that.
Luckily, we don't sell tickets, so nobody shows up.
Nobody shows up. That's
No. We're,
like for instance, we triple cast our show.
oh,
Yeah,
there's a high school in our district that does that. High school.
Good.
No.
Good.
No.
Yes, 100% good.
No.
Let those kids have a chance, bud. That's my whole point as a middle school, is like, let them have the chance to succeed. Now, granted, if you don't have the talent to do it, then don't do it.
I thought you said you've listened to some of my podcasts.
I've listened to like 3 of your podcasts, and half of them have been about WrestleMania.
So on this ending note, if you've done your research, who are the people I always mention on my podcast?
Sydney Savage.
Stuart Savage.
That's not a name, I know. I remembered the Savage. I knew the Savage part.
All right, I'm done.
Minor wisdom.